Hey everyone, Token Dave over here, dorky token black guy who's just trying to get by. Welcome back to the Hawkins Harangue. Here, I rant about a particular subject matter for a few minutes, and right off the bat, this one is very controversial. So controversial, in fact, that I actually basically disabled the comments, because I don't want any comments from this particular video. Okay? And so, just to let you all know, in person, I am very socially awkward. And with that in mind, I tend to miss a lot of signs. Some signs might be obvious in a social setting and I'll completely miss them. But when it comes to something in a professional matter, when it comes to work-related business, I can pick up all the signs fairly quickly. Hell, one of the reasons why I didn't vote for our president is because I knew this was going to happen. It was obvious during the campaign he was going to lie in real time, which he did. He was derogatory towards women, and he did not understand basically the nuances of his job nor respect the office. So the signs were there, but yet in majority the country voted for Trump. And with all, I bring this up because I'm seeing all the fan outrage about basically Channel Awesome with the hashtag, change the channel. To which I say, you fans, really? The signs were obvious that Channel Awesome was awful for a few years, and it just took something this clear as day for you to jump on and go against them. Are you guys idiots? Okay, before I go any further, let me state a couple of things. Number one, this is not in defense of Channel Awesome at all. The backlash they're getting, they deserve, because that Google Doc that came out put things into light, and, good for them for having a hard time. Number two, I did like that channel for a time period. One of the reasons, actually, my biggest influence and one of the people that made me think that I could do something like that is actually on that channel, and I don't know if they left or anything yet, but I know they were on that channel. Okay? Number three, basically, I might state some people indirectly. I think you might know who I'm talking about, but I'm not going to use their direct names because I'm not in there. I don't know all the details still, so I'm not going to try to pretend that I know something that I wasn't involved with. That's not how I roll. All right? Okay, so let me start out by saying I became aware of Channel Awesome 2009. I just couldn't watch them because I didn't have a computer at that time. I was basically either using a friend's computer to email some people, or I would be at work in a mailroom, and I was fortunate enough to have computer access, or I would go to a public library for some things to look for a better paying job. I didn't get my own laptop until mid-2010. It took me about 6 months to save up money to get one, and between that time, a friend of mine, actually one of the people in my immediate reactions, he told me about Channel Awesome and some of the web videos he showed me, which were pretty cool. So when I got my computer and when I started watching Channel Awesome, I realized a couple of the people that were there in the start were gone. And I also realized that Channel Awesome was a fairly young business and startup channel, So I was like, okay, that's kind of weird, But after a startup, some people do leave for creative differences or to check out their own because they just want to be there to say that, hey, I helped build this business. Fine, that happens. But I keep forgetting if it was 2011 or 2012. But around the time their major thing, To Boldly Flee, came out, one of the major contributors left. Well, I'm actually assuming they were fired. And here's why I'm assuming they were fired. Because, one, they were a major part of the To Boldly Flee, number one. Number two, they were one of the most beloved internet reviewers at that time, And number three, after they left the channel, I started following that person for a little bit and noticed that their content was not really as good. Hell, there are a couple of YouTube videos that were made about that particular reviewer. Now, I was kind of surprised that that reviewer was gone. And, you know, Isao actually told me, yeah, there was a little bit of an incident between that reviewer and a different reviewer. And I was like, oh, okay. And ironically, a couple of weeks later, that reviewer reviewed something. The reviewer that was still on Channel Awesome at that time reviewed something that basically was in relation to what Isao told me. I was like, oh, now I could see this going on. But I still watched Channel Awesome for a little bit, up until basically some things happened where I was forced to move, and I, started going back to school again, and then I ended up getting my associate's degree, and ended up getting having to go through a temp job again, then getting my new job, And I didn't watch Channel Awesome for a little bit. Then when I tried to watch again, and I keep forgetting if it was 2014 or 2015. One of the years I tried to watch again, one of those 2 years, a lot of people were gone. A lot of them were gone. The only people that I recognized was my biggest internet reviewer influence. They were still there. I also noticed that basically Linkara, Angry Joe, and no, I can't say Film Brain, and Linkara, Angry Joe, Cinema Snob, and Todd in the Shadows. They were still there. Not sure if Film Brain was there. I wasn't really that huge of a Film Brain fan, but he might have been there. I wasn't sure. But there were a lot of people that were gone. And I was like, okay, something's very wrong here. And the channel was drastically different. So, yeah, I was like, okay, if this many people left, and these are people that had a huge fan base and following, something's wrong over here. Something's wrong, And I also noticed that there were a ton of YouTube videos a couple years ago with basically some of the earlier people that left. Actually, the earlier people that left, I saw a few of their videos around the time To Boldly Flee came out. And then I started noticing, around that time when I saw all those other people were not on the channel, I saw that there were other people that were making YouTube videos about why they left the channel. So I was like, you know what? Probably not going to watch this channel. Hell, one of my biggest internet influence, he has his own channel on YouTube. So I was watching him, still. But I'm not going to lie. As much as I did like watching Linkara's stuff, his stuff was not enough to have me watch Channel Awesome that much. Also, I'm not really that much into music now. I'm trying to get back into metal. Time in the Shadows didn't do it for me, and I'm not a gamer as much anymore, so no reason for me to watch Angry Joe. So, yeah, I didn't really watch Channel Awesome, except for Tamara's Never Seen. And the reason why I watched Tamara's Never Seen is because I heard from some of her videos, she said that she was trying to be an actress, and all the movies she said she didn't see, which are classics from the previous generation that she should have been aware of. It was like, you're trying to be an actress and you didn't see these movies? It was both something out of curiosity and as well as kind of perplexing. So that's why I kind of watched her stuff, And once in a while I watched Walter. Once in a while I watched his top fives. They were pretty interesting. But, I wasn't really that avid of a watcher of Channel Awesome because I knew that those are some big and obvious signs, And just like a couple, 2 weeks ago, I followed one of the former contributors on Twitter, and one of the people that I follow, on YouTube, who I tried to catch up and watch their stuff, they said that they were aware of this too, and they noticed the signs, but that person had a little bit more detail of things. I was like, oh, so my hunch was correct. There were some things that were bad there. But damn, I didn't know it went that deep, you know? And here's my thing. So while I understand why people are outraged and everything, why did it have to go that deep and become that obvious for people to actually say, hey, I'm not following this channel right now? Channel Awesome's awful behavior was very obvious. At least their practices were obvious. And the fact that it took something crystal clear for most of these fans to find out, goes to show that you should really pay a little more attention to not just what's in front of you, but some of the nuances that go on. Because there were some obvious red flags, and y'all didn't want to follow them. So, while I understand you're being upset and, people leaving and drones and everything, yeah, y'all should have picked up on this because it was very obvious. That's just my take on the whole issue. You could agree or disagree with me, whatever and all. But this is Token Dave, Dorky Token Black Guy, who's just trying to get by, giving my sense of why Channel Awesome was awful, and it was obvious for years.